to this week's episode of Coffee with a Career Coach. My name is Erica O'Toole, and I'm the Associate Director of the Career Development Center. And today we are joined by a special guest to talk a little bit about financial aid. Now, the reason that we're talking about this today, you're probably wondering what the connection here is. We know that financial aid is a huge decision maker when looking for a future career, right? Those options and kind of looking at what those repayment plans look like. And so we really like to partner with offices across campus to make sure we're giving you a really holistic experience. So today, like I said, I'm joined by Sarah for that. One thing we always share is what we're drinking in our coffee. And today I actually have water with strawberries. So it's kind of a sad little drink. But I did have my coffee this morning, an iced coffee with my caramel creamer. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Sarah.
Hi, everyone. I'm Sarah Kasabian-Larson, the Director of Scholarships and Financial Aid. And I'm excited to be talking with you today. My drink of choice is just some tea right now, but it's really good honey citrus tea.
Awesome. Well, Sarah, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
So I have some questions ready, but for those of you that are watching, please feel free to ask questions in the chat as well, and we would be happy to address those. So Sarah, first question that I have here, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, various measures were implemented to provide relief to student loan borrowers. So these measures included pausing the accrual of interest and suspending loan payments. And additionally, there were discussions and proposals regarding student loan forgiveness to alleviate the financial burden on borrowers. I just threw a lot out there at you, but can you explain further and update us on where we're at with that student loan repayment now?
Yes, good question. So back in March of 2020, so right when the COVID pandemic started, federal student loans were put into a forbearance status. And essentially that means the repayment was put on pause. And in this time as well, some borrowers that were in default were actually brought up into good standing as well. And the accrual of interest was put on pause. And the idea here is to help alleviate some of the financial stress individuals were feeling during the COVID pandemic. So with the interest being on pause as well, if an individual made a payment to their loans, again, the repayment was put on pause. So if they're making a payment, it's because they can. And it was actually going straight to the principal versus normally it would go towards interest and the principal balance. So it was able to set up individuals that were able to make payments to bring that balance down. So it was a good added bonus for those individuals. In addition, during this time, loan forgiveness was discussed in mass quantities for those that qualified. And it was, announced publicly, nationally as well. It even went so far to putting an application online and individuals could apply. However, the Supreme Court overruled it, and that particular loan forgiveness program is no longer going to go forward. There are other talks of other types of loan forgiveness out there, but for now, that is not something that is happening in the mass as we thought it was going to. And Congress also has ended this repayment pause. So that means for the first time in 3.5 years, individuals will either need to start incorporating loan repayment back into their monthly budget, or if someone has recently graduated, their grace period might be over and their repayment is going to start for the first time ever. And so that is, kind of a big deal for 3.5 years to not have the loan repayment happen, and now it's going to happen.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that we're addressing this today because I feel like there's so much anxiety around this whole thing with our students. And, there's a lot already anxiety coming back to college. So being able to get some clear answers is really awesome, Sarah. So with the loan forgiveness not moving forward then, can you explain what that means for our current and past students that borrowed loans?
Yeah, for sure. So without the loan forgiveness happening and then the repayment pause ending as well, starting in September. So this month, interest will start accruing. And that is for borrowers that borrowed before for the qualifying loans, and then students who are currently borrowing, if they're using an unsubsidized loan, their interest will start accruing as well. So that starts in September. And then in October is when the repayment pause will end, and individuals will need to start repaying on their loans if they are not in school in their deferment period.
Okay, awesome. So I'm going to pull up the website here and but ask my question first. So how can a borrower look for their loan servicer and further information on repayment?
Yep, so that's a great question. If a student goes to, or a borrower goes to studentaid.gov, you would log in using your FSA ID and password. So this is exactly the same password that you would use to file your FAFSA and did all your loan steps. So like entrance counseling, master promissory note, and exit counseling as well. Current students can go out here and you can see your aid history. So you can see if you ever received a federal grant, and you can see federal loans that you have borrowed. When you look out there, you'll see when you borrowed it, how much you've borrowed, as well as who your loan servicer is. And when you click on the loan servicer, the contact information will come up. Many of them have an online portal. I'm hopeful that all have an online portal for individuals to use. And it's really important to get set up with that online portal to get, the repayment set up. And a lot have the automatic payment option, and that would be a really great option if you're able to do that so you don't forget to make a payment each month. Even if you think you know who your loan servicer is, I highly recommend taking a look out at studentaid.gov because during this period of pause, a lot of individuals' loan servicer actually changed. And that's because a lot of them got out, and so new servicers have taken over students or past borrowers' loans. So taking a look out there of who your loan servicer is highly recommended, especially at this time. And then when you're out here and you go under loan repayment and then repayment plan, you can actually review all the different repayment plan options that are available. There are so many to choose from. When you're in your loan servicer, that's where you'll do the application for a lot of these repayment plans and how you will set it up. But out here is a great tool to review what is available. So for instance, the standard one is called the standard repayment plan. They take the amount you've borrowed and split it out over 10 years to determine how much your monthly payment is going to be. And the idea here is you're going to pay a set amount over 10 years to pay it off. There's the graduated repayment plan where they take the loan and determine how to start you off with a smaller loan payment and then gradually increase that loan payment. Doing that will take longer than 10 years. And in addition, you will pay more in the end because of the interest that's accruing on the loans. And then they also have income type based repayment plans. So there's the pay as you earn. There is the income contingent payment plan. But the newest one is the save payment plan. And this is taking 10% of your monthly discretionary income. So it's looking at what is your income and what is your household size. And so you'll have to do some reporting throughout the year, I believe, with that so you can stay eligible. But it then determines how much you can repay monthly based on discretionary income. And if you don't repay it within 10 years, they will end up forgiving it. There are some qualifications with that, but you can read more about that on studentaid.gov. One of the biggest things to remember is the federal student loans will work with you if you have any type of situation that arises. One thing to think, first of all, is this is for prior borrowers that are not in school at least half-time. So if you're in school half-time, you are in school deferment right now, so you don't need to worry about repayment, but this is really helpful into the future. So if you move, you want to make sure you contact your loan servicer. If you something happens financially, you would want to contact your loan servicer because they can work with you on finding a repayment plan that works best for your situation. I know with the Save payment plan, I mean, your payments can be as low as $0 a month. Obviously, once you get a job where you're able to make payments and it can work into your budget, then that will increase, and the life of the loan again will be increased because you weren't making those payments before. But if you take a look out here, you can read more about it. They also talk about consolidating your loans, which is a great way to make your payment just one monthly payment versus, you know, your amount going to different loans as well. So you're just consolidating and bringing them all together.
Awesome. Thank you so much for covering all of that. I know I have tons of questions already just on my own, so I appreciate you coming to talk to us today. If you had any final tip for the students out there that are worried about this, or maybe just kind of inquisitive, trying to figure out what they're going to do with their own loans, what kind of tip would you share with them?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first I would again stress going to studentaid.gov and checking out who your loan servicer is. If you're a current student, you can go see that. I would say you probably can't see the loans we just dispersed on your account for a couple months. But if you are a prior student, a prior borrower, or if you borrowed in prior terms, you can check out who your loan servicer is tied to those. So knowing who they are, getting set up with an online portal for when repayment begins is essential. You know, these are federal loans, so you don't want to go into default and not pay because it's the federal government. So there can be a lot of consequences with that. And just realize, you know, again, they're going to work with you. It has been 3.5 years of this payment pause. And so it is scary to think about how you're going to need to work this back into your budget or work it into your budget for the first time ever. And they'll work with you on that and seeing what you can afford with the criteria of the payment plans they have available. And just know that in the long run, making these actions now are going to help you into the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on today. I feel like this was super helpful. And if you have any comments after the fact today or questions for Sarah, feel free to enter those in the Facebook comments. I will check those. And then we're going to have some really, really great speakers on for this series for this semester. So stay in tune on Handshake and make sure you're checking dates for those. We will have some employers, and then we'll be talking about all our upcoming events because we have some really awesome ones coming up. So again, thank you, Sarah. It was a pleasure working with you today, and I hope everyone has a really great holiday weekend.
Thank you.